Hey guys, and welcome back. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a little experiment I've been doing with green-red. Now, you guys will know from my coverage of the deck that I'm a big fan of Amoeba's Radiance structure deck. So I wanted to take the structure package, which is the Architects, the Devouring Plants, the Faeria trees, and the Engineers, and create a green-red deck that gets to play its Gyarados, its Tefras much earlier, using the combat creatures and the blazing salamanders to generate tons of Faeria, along with the Faeria trees. So you just have a ton of Faeria to play these big threats, like the dragons and like Radiance, and also get good use out of Magda. And that's the plan with the deck. It's kind of a control deck that uses its economy engine to get these big threats out earlier or in advantageous positions and use them to win the game. It's an experiment, like I'm saying. It's not a tier 1 deck. I've had some good success with it. I did actually run Day of the Dragons originally, but I found against faster decks like Blue Jump, it's just a dead card. I'd rather run something like Marginata or Radiance in that slot, which could have some influence on board. You know, giving Marginata to a combat creature like Boss could be fantastic, right? It gains that mobility, it gains that extra stats. And also you can reap the rewards of the combat trigger. So let's get into some matches and see how this goes. Like I said, I'm not too sure how this is going to play out. It is an experiment, but hopefully we get some good games. Alright guys, into our first match here. We're going to keep the boss. I like to keep like a Faeria tree, a boss. I actually treat Faeria trees a lot like I did in the structure deck. Like, I'm happy to jam a turn 1 Faeria tree against green, blue, and yellow. Because if they use the Emperor's Command on it, it's an even trade-off. Like, no one really loses anything. It's just card for card, Faeria for Faeria. And if they don't have an answer to it, well, it can turn into 10 Faeria for me. And that's pretty good. So we've got Shedding Brute coming down. Now I have put in this build the options of Runin's Guidance, because when I first made this deck, I was running into a lot of issues with Burn. Burn was actually kind of a big problem for me. So we're gonna I want to push the mountain here. I find I really like mountain on this spot because it opens up a lot of directions for Recoin Copter to go, and it also gets a really good land for Gyarados to come down. Flameburst, Cypher's Wrath, gonna clear that out. That's a Flameburst not going to my orb. Yeah, I'll take that. That's fine. So we're going to build... So usually I would build lands here. And I think that's probably where I'm going to go here. I like to build this like little island for the salamanders, because the more value I get out of my salamanders, the better. Now, the salamanders, if they can hit multiple combat creatures, that means my opponent has bigger threats to deal with, but also I get that return value. I gain that Faeria back. And that's pretty important. I'm just going to slot into double collection here. Alright, oh, Faeria tree. Now we find a Faeria tree, and we also have an Architect. How good is that? Now, Ground Shaker is an issue. I actually don't think I'm going to go for Faeria tree just yet. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to play Magda this turn. Because if I play... Maybe I actually wait. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait a turn. The next turn I'm going to +1 and I'm going to Tefra. I'm just gonna Tefra. I'm gonna actually make another land now, and just because I want to challenge the Boulder Thrower, I'm just gonna make a big old Tefra. We have to make a land here just to make sure I can kill the Boulder Thrower on the next turn. Yeah, and Tefra, you can just come down here. Mono red, dealing with a flying 11/11 is going to be difficult. Unless there's a Meteor in sight. Could Havoc it, I guess. Could Havoc. It's only... Havoc and Brute is enough to clear it, but I'm forcing that Havoc at least. I'm forcing my opponent to have that option. I'd be really sad if there is a Havoc. Bomb Slinger.
Let's explode together.
That's okay. I'm making more special lands than I would usually like. But that's just kind of the situation we're in right now. We're playing very reactively. I could have +1'd actually into Salamander, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. Yeah, let's just kill this. And now we have this 14 damage next to my opponent's orb. So we're taking a much more aggressive route here. Just like I said, one of the things I like to do with this deck is just, once I get that Faeria, just using the dragon as my win con. Go into a Herald. That's fine, because I can go down this side. I can just zip across. Here. Move up. Take the damage. I either go Devouring Plant now, or I go... Devouring Plant's actually not bad. I can go +1 Architect. And that means the Devouring Plant will taunt both of these up. Takes a draw. And there we go. Now, that is a pretty unconventional game for me. Just having the Tephra. I was playing against a mono red deck. I had Tephra, and I just used it. I may have actually gone for Tephra of Magda if the Boulder Throw wasn't in. Played the slower game, but actually, this was just right. Just get that big Tephra down and see if it can take the win. But there we have it. First game in the bag. A bit, like I said, not really how the deck plays out. But I'll take it. Puts me on that win streak. Let's move on to our next match. Alright guys, into another match here. I'm going to probably throw all this. I like to find the underground cards to start off with. Bosses, Brigands. We've actually got the plant back with the Architect. Now I don't mind so much because I have this opener. I have the underground Brigand to kick things off. Yeah, greens to you as well, friend. So we're going to stick a mountain to the side. Now what I'd like to do with this deck, which you kind of saw an example of last game, is kind of build an island. I build an island a bit like Green Yellow Sack tends to get up to. And I use this island to get value from my salamanders, essentially. That's his only reason. So yeah, I'm going to go here. I can use the Explore to push to the left if I find a good enough card to do something with. This deck is primarily red-based. So just take the Flame Burst there, just kill it. A little unfortunate, but it's not like we have much else going on, to be honest, so I'm not too concerned. Oh, Faeria Tree. That's a really good pickup. So we explore here. Then we'll take a forest, because we want to build this island. Play the Faeria Tree. And then we'll play the Architect. And then we play the Devouring Plant in this position. Now, what the Devouring Plant does here is it protects us from Horsemaster. Now, Horsemaster is a bit of a blowout here. You can still Horsemaster, you could Cypher's Wrath, you can do all that stuff, but Devouring Plant is a great way to just stick it next to a creature and protect it from an avenue of attack. And now we've seen the Flame Burst on the... We've seen a Flame Burst on the Brigand. I'm a bit more comfortable with this Faeria Tree surviving. Now, I could have powered this up with the Architect, but I think one thing to consider, we've seen the Flame Burst. The biggest counter to us right now is Ground Shaker. So Ground Shaker is like the most efficient way to deal with the Faeria Tree. So I decided that, you know what, I'm going to use the Architect to power up the Faeria Tree to play around that Ground Shaker. Goes to the double neutral. Gonna see a Horsemaster anyway? Yep, played around Horsemaster, guys. Feels good. Got rewarded. It gets a combat trigger, which is the worst thing. We're gonna see the Cypher's Wrath. So he did have all the follow-up plays anyway that we were talking about, and does have a flame, but just had everything. We've probably just had all the answers in hand. A little bit unfortunate there. Pick up a Salamander, it's not gonna help us. I guess we're going for Devouring Plant number 2. We'll just have to wait and see if we pick anything useful up. Magda would be quite nice now. I'd like to see Magda. come to hand. Might see double neutral just push around the side. But probably wants to set up lands for Baldarian. So if he hits the 5 attack Devouring Plant, that indicates that there's a Ground Shaker lurking. But it actually goes for the 1 attack. Gets the 2 combat triggers, pushing this up to a 4-5. Ugh. So gross. Radiance. Not really helpful in this situation. I could +1 now, or I can land. I think land is going to be the option here. We're just going to take a defensive land here, and we're going to pass. Because the next turn I can +1, and I can drop Radiance. Radiance, being a 10-10 is going to help me a lot in this matchup, unless he's running Havoc. And then I kind of fall behind to the Havoc. Wait, just ignoring Devouring Plant? Okay. Baldarian? Leia, oh, really? Have to deal with Leia now? Yeah, not great, is it? It's not great. I guess I can still play Radiance. I'll get value on the Brigand. That is going to kill the Leia, so Radiance is the play, for sure. We're playing this position because then I get to choose when the combat happens now. So I can just run into the 4-5. Leia and Brigand are not going to be moving anywhere. They're actually covering mountains, which is pretty important. So my opponent has to develop another mountain if he wants to play something aggressive. Ah, man, that Flame Burst that second Flame Burst got me. It got me so bad. Like, my opponent already had used the Flame Burst, but had the second one. And that was brutal, honestly. I don't think that... If I had that Faeria tree pop now, like, think of the position I would be in comparison. I'd be in a much better position. So let's take the clear on the Brigand. I can't really afford to get landlocked here, so I'm going to take a mountain here preemptively and just pass. And this sets up, again, a good Recoan Copter land. It lets us kind of move in and around here. I didn't actually take Explore Mountain here last time, but mainly because I was afraid of Horsemaster. I didn't want to open up the Horsemaster line even more. Takes a mountain. 6 mountains now, 12 Faeria. I have 3 Faeria, no board. It's not looking good. This is kind of one of those games where my opponent just kind of has everything. Everything's going according to plan. Whereas with me, I've had to make like kind of suboptimal reactive plays. Which is just kind of the nature of the deck, really. It's like I said, it's a bit of a meme. It's not going to be anywhere near a tier 1 deck. But yeah, we can just +1 Garadan, and +1 now, and just Garadan next turn. Or I can take a draw. I think I take a draw because it's not as transparent. But I'd like to +1 next turn, so maybe I just +1 and pass. And yeah, I could play mind games here. I could just say well played, but I'm not gonna bother. 13 Faeria, 7 Faeria, 2 guys on board. Just going to generate an extra 2, pushing them up to 15. So my only hope really is my opponent overextends. And I mean, like, play more Brigands. Play more Brigands is the overextension that I desire. But I think I'm actually fine with just a Herald. Because now I just play Garadan in double collection at +1. And this sets up Recoan Copter for next turn. Now we've seen double Flame Burst, so unless there's a Havoc in the deck, I'm kind of hoping Garadan sticks around. We could see Bomb Slinger into Cypher's Wrath. Bomb Sling into another Flame Burst. Triple Cypher's Wrath, not possible. We saw a Cypher's Wrath come down on the Architect. So hopefully Garadan lives and I can double collect with him. And that would be really good. I would appreciate it. I mean, I could even move him here. I can then Salamander and kill this and then kill the Shimmering Statue. The Shimmering Statue might be helping me here because he doesn't get a central attack. Might take the Devouring Plant might just do all the work for me in this position. Hits it, Ground Shaker. Baldarian, okay. So if there's no Ground Shaker, I think I'm in a decent spot. Cypher. Yeah, actually, I think no Ground Shaker here is really strong for me. Mainly because I get to lock this down potentially. Do I give him the 5? I really need to deal with this. Magda's not going to get a trigger off. He's just going to throw the hammer at it. If I stick a creature here, it actually puts me in a decent position, but whatever creature I throw down is just going to die. And that's something I need to consider as well. The structure here is a little sad because I can't kill the Baldarian. So actually the Shimmering Statue is working wonders because if this wasn't here, I could move here, Rako and Copter in this position, and then I could clear out the Baldarian. So the structure is actually doing a lot of work. I think I take a draw. I can't even stick boss there. And he just throws the hammer at the boss. That's the situation I'm in right now. It's just like the hammer is such a big deal. I think I have to do this. Oh, no. I think I have to just throw Magda under the bus here. See you later, Magda.
Welcome to my court.
And I'm going to leave the Shimmering Statue. No, I shouldn't have. This is a tricky turn. Like, I should have +1'd. I should have just went for the Salamander play like I was originally. Pushing this up to an 8/8. Maybe he scoots across to collect. Oh, he +1 Garadans and takes this, but still has to run into my Devouring Plant. This is tricky. It's a tricky one. I regret not taking +1 now. Could have another Horsemaster. Horsemaster kills this. I'm still locked into the taunt. But I can +1 Salamander next turn, I guess. No, not enough. 3/4. Actually, I've kind of locked myself out of Faeria. I should have just double collected. For sure. Flame Burst. The third Flame Burst? Really? Hammer Cypher's Wrath. I'm just going to scoop it with Hammer Cypher's Wrath. Yep, right. This game's done. My opponent drew like a god, so I know I sound salty, but that's just the facts. My opponent drew all the Flame Bursts when he needed them, all the removal when he needed them, 15 cards left in deck, 3 Flame Bursts, 2 Cypher's Wraths. Nah. That game's a write-off. So yeah, there we go. So that's gonna wrap up that match. Let's move on to our next one. Alright guys, so after a couple more games, I decided to make some changes to the deck and kind of go back to the original strategy. So instead of just kind of writing off the last few games I had, it was actually a good way to assess like some of the issues the deck was running into. This deck can win matches, but it's very reliant on like Salamanders and stuff like that. So I decided that I wanted to go a bit more all in on the power-up avenue and also generate some land ramp and some resources. Now, I'm a really big fan of this Ritualist card. So if you're going to give it a shot, being my land ramp card, because I can refresh my power wheel, I can make the forests I need. I took out the healing because if I lose the burn, I lose the burn. I'm just going to write off burn. I want to be able to win other matchups. I added Leia as well. She wasn't in the original build because I was running Time of Legends, and then I took Time of Legends out, but I never added Leia back in. So Leia's going to make her debut in this deck. I think that's going to really help. Now, the deck was running Imperial Engineers, which is why I was running Magda, so I decided to take Magda out and add Day of the Dragons instead. And now we're really kind of going in on Architect, Devouring Plant, Faeria Tree, and potentially the Shimmering Statue from Leia's Last Word. And that's kind of it. I've added Crackthorn Beast as well, put a bit of meat into the deck, a bit of removal, the help with the Recurrent Copters, maybe even push the boss and the Brigands and stuff up. So I'm just kind of hoping now that I'm able to leverage the board a little easier in the mid game, and that will build into my late game, because I find other decks trying to do greedier things just running over me. And that's an issue I have. Like, decks that just run Gemshell Tortoises, for example, just do everything better than me, just because Gemshell is generally a better strategy than what I'm trying to pull off. So I figured if I add the Crackthorns, at least I add that kind of aggressive push on 6 lands, and I can start leveraging the board, maybe making those dashes into an offensive position to push orb damage and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a janky green-red, but you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's see if this new version pans out. All right, guys, into a new match, a new deck almost, some new tweaks to it. I'm playing against 4 Horsemen, one of our kind of seasoned Pandora players. I don't know how much Pandora he plays nowadays, but very good Pandora player back in the day. So I'm just gonna go forest here, explore and check a Faeria tree in this area. So if my opponent decides to switch sides to contest my Faeria tree, I can just go mountain, or I can go mountain if he goes down this side. So we'll see what happens. And there I am. Sorry, just need to change back to the same screen there. So playing against Green Yellow Sacrifice. It's absolutely fine. So we're actually gonna... We need to be a bit more aggressive now. We can't really just sit back and let all the sacking go off. Or maybe we can. I don't know. It's difficult to judge sometimes exactly what we can be capable of. But we have a lot of Crackthorns right now. It looks like 4 Horsemen is going to come and get me, knowing this Faeria tree is like just ticking away here. And Explore's quite nice because it lets us kind of just sit down on here with a creature. Oh, we can actually just trigger it now, but I don't see the point, really. We can go for Garadan this turn, that's a given. Garadan's pretty good. Maybe we don't even bother. What's our follow-up after Garadan? Is it too early to Garadan? Do I need to get... Can I get more out of Garadan? That's the question. Is Garadan going to offer me more? I think Garadan... The one thing Garadan does give me is an option to go in between the wells. And we are fighting... We're now going to be fighting for well control in this position. So yeah, Garadan just going to clean up those problems. I'll leave a 6/6, which fly in charge 2 in that situation. It's going to use this to block my collection. We might see a sack come down. Might see nothing at all. We'll see. Maybe an assassin? There's no nightmare this turn. No, some sack decks have opted for nightmare now. I think Amoeba was playing nightmare in his build. Tiki Totem. Yep, Spirit of Rebirth. Zelda. Shield Mates. So just kind of flood in. Right, we're going to move here. We are going to stick a Devouring Plant in this position here. forest around, and then we're going to go for the architect and push this up. So we're going to lock these cards in. We're just leaving them here, and this is giving an opportunity now for Garadan to push up and kill the Spirit of Rebirth. I might force 4 Horsemen now to just play land here and play a creature to protect the Spirit. That's basically all I'm doing here. I just want to protect it. I just want to get rid of this Spirit before it gets any real value going. Takes a desert. Maybe just drop Soul Eater for tempo. Don't think it's actually that bad. Just going to run in here. Get a power trigger on the Spirit of Rebirth. Demon Stalker. Gonna kill the Garadan. So really invested there in protecting. This actually just lines up a beautiful Raccoon Copter. But I guess it's kind of sad because the problem with the Raccoon Copter in this position is if this was a mountain, it would be pretty good. I guess I can Raccoon Copter anyway. Maybe it just doesn't matter, right? I just run this in. I could Crackthorn. Crackthorn's probably a bit better. And then I can play Radiance next turn. Yeah, let's Crackthorn. Let's see what Crackthorn brings us. Crackthorn can dash here. Kill this. Actually, I think I should have killed this first. I kill this, and then I crack one again. And push Crackthorn into that aggressive position. Just like really applying pressure. See, look how different the deck is now. Like against kind of these kind of control mirrors, I have creatures that can move up aggressively. And the Raccoon Copter can just finish off that 2-1. That's absolutely fine. Spirit Rebirth might just take the clear on the 4-4 Crackthorn now. They just force building a land for my 9-9 to step on. Which is very useful. Big old Wind Soldier. It's gonna be a Soul Eater. Okay. Oh, a 10/10 Soul Eater. I see you. I see what you're up to. Alright. It's making life difficult. That's fine. We have options. We can actually do this into +1 now. And then we can Raccoon Copter up here. Clear this out. Clear this out. There we go. There we go. Ritualist doing some work. Get me a power wheel. I've been wanting to play Ritualist in this deck. But I just couldn't find space with all the Imperial Engineers and stuff. And I quite like the change so far. I know it's only one match, but it's giving me an idea of what the deck is capable of. It feels like more just a Crackthorn deck, like a Crackthorn Structures deck. And that did actually exist beforehand. There was a player who played a couple of years ago called Salugi. And when Crackthorn got changed, because it used to be Warstorm Champion, I think its original name was, Warstorm Champion. And they created Crackthorn, given its new effect, where it shoots all these pins off its back. I think that's thematically what it's supposed to do, if you look at its artwork. And then Salugi came up with a deck that used Derelict Towers and Architects and stuff like that, and you pinged things off. The whole concept was doing this like chip damage. So we're kind of going back to that. That's pretty cool. Salugi was a great player, very great deck builder as well. 7/7, 5/3. Doesn't respect the Ritualist. It's a Day of the Dragons. So I guess I could +1. If I draw, what do I get? Like, this is the thing. Like, I don't know what a draw really offers me. I guess I could get Devouring Plant. Devouring Plant would be very good in this situation. Would it be very good? I don't think it'd be very good. I think it'd be reasonable. I probably just want to save up for these. So I'm going to +1. And I'll Corrupt. I'll +1 again. And I'll just scoot across. And I'll hit for free. Because now the Spirit Rebirth needs to move, step here. And that's going to take a land build. It's not collecting off this well. So a lot of good things are happening for me in that regard. I could have played a bit more patient and moved into double collection, I guess. But no, I think I'm okay with this. Because I can use Radiance to kill the Spirit. Unless it's just another Soul Eater. It's actually a 2/5 Bone Collector. 3/6 Bone Collector. Okay. Cohen Copter. So we can step back. Here. Play Radiance. It's +1 again. So the sack player is starting to get the value from the Spirit of Rebirth, right? This is the point of the game with the sack player. All these deaths, all these clears start to add up, and the Soul Eaters are going to be a big part of the issue for me. +1. Spider? Another Spirit? Really can't handle all these spirits right now. This totem has made ridiculous value. And Leia. Oh gosh, here we go. I get the draw. I'll probably have to kill this. I guess I can Recohen Copter. And clear this out. Ah, but the Bone Collector starts building up so much value. Not keen. Not keen on it at all. Let's take a draw. My own layer. So at least that Spirit didn't trigger a +1/+1. It's pretty good. I guess I'm still in the good thing is I'm still in a situation where my opponent has to choose one of these creatures to run into Radiance. It might be Leia. It's probably not going to be Bone Collector. I'd rather it. I don't know. Like, it's difficult because I think both creatures are a nuisance to deal with right now. The Spirit Rebirth long term will build up a lot of value. I guess not killing this totem has kind of bit me in the ass a bit. It's tricky. Tricky. I guess my plan now is to rely on Day of the Dragons. It's not a good plan. Never rely on Day of the Dragons. You're going to use a Bone Collector. And get another Bone Collector out of it. So actually valuing the Spirit Rebirth and the Leia more in this situation. So I can +1 Recohen Copter. It's kind of sad, really. I guess it's actually fine because the taunt is going to block. So I just +1 Recohen Copter here. Just pass and just use the taunt to block the Bone Collector for a turn. So I think one of the big differences between our decks conceptually is Green Yellow Sack. I've spoken about this before, how synergistic it is, but it has inevitability, right? The Soul Eaters create inevitability unless you have specific answers for them, like Frogify's and Voice of Truth. Can only transform effect like that, and you can see like it's going to come down right now. Yep. Here we go. Here he is. What's the size of it? 1616. So because I don't have transform, because I don't have voice of truth, it's actually very difficult for me to stop something like a Soul Eater. Which is why I tried to use the crack thorns in the early game, well, the mid game, to try and get that win off. But it wasn't quite enough, you know. These spirits started building up a lot of value, the bone collectors. This Soul Eater gets to kill my tree. Like, I could block. I could block with the Ritualist, but it's not going to give me enough time. So I guess I guess my only real hope here... I guess I do have Lair. I have Lair. I guess that's another thing as well. So I can kind of shimmy Lair back. I could land... I could actually make land and play the Faeria tree here to block the one that's going to go off. And then hope I draw something else later. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Maybe this deck is too ambitious in the current metagame. I think I maybe played wrong. I'm starting to feel like I played this all wrong. Is that the other Soul Eater? No, it's just a giant village elder. It's absolutely huge. So she gets to clear both structures in this position. Alright, let's throw in a towel here. So, yeah, it's really difficult. It's really difficult because is what I did with the crack thorns and stuff pushing up correct, or is that incorrect? Because basically my opponent just made an army of creatures and marched them down. Maybe I shouldn't have garroted them. Maybe I should have waited. Like it's really difficult to figure out. And it's one of Green Red's main weaknesses. It gets blown out by stuff like this. But yeah, the good game to 4 Horsemen. Nice to see you playing Constructed. Let's move on to another match. Alright guys, into another game. Still trying to figure this out. Is it just bad? Is it just a bad deck? Or am I playing it wrong? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Next game, going to be Desert from my opponent. So I'm just going to do the old Faeria tree. Let's get this down. Let's get this going. I guess, like, if you think about it, the Radiant structure decks have, like, this really explosive kind of win condition, right? It has a way to just put down a lot of stuff that's a problem. A lot of 10-10s, or a lot of chaos. That's where things are interesting. Kaleem.
Embrace the wild wind.
Embrace the wild wind? What if I don't want to? Kaleem. So Leia actually been a really good shout here. Even if this gets Choking Sands, you know, the structure's going to protect me. And if there's a Flash Wind combo, the structure's going to protect me as well. And I have this underground boss now to help get things going. Kaleem's going to get out of dodge. You know, there's really interesting land development going on. Pick up a Crackthorn. Interesting. So now a mobility trick is a little sad. So I am going to take a land. And I'm going to move these around. So the reason I've done this is because, like, Choking Sands is still a thing. Like, it gets Choking Sands here, mobility, and hit the tree. But Wind Soldier is not an issue anymore. So So I'm just kind of using the fact that the Wind Soldier isn't too much of an issue. And then if any of these live, now if these guys live into the next turn, I have a massive Salamander going off. I'm going to be able to hit 3 targets. I can just land here, or I can reposition them in a way like move here, move here, move here, Salamander in this region. Or I can forest here, move here, Salamander here, and clear the air elemental at the same time. So a lot of different Salamander options coming up for me. It just depends on if anything happens to these creatures, and hopefully not. Hopefully they live and I can get that value. Because next turn I'm going up to 14 Faeria. And I'd like to draw cards, but I do understand there is an optimal Salamander line available. Take some Faeria. Yep, Soul Drain. Maybe he has a Wind Soldier here to slow down the tree. No? Okay. Tree number 2. So we are going to take the clear in this region right now. Salamanders. And then Leia can get some work done here. And I'm going to move Brigand back. I'll stick another tree down. I like just playing the tree here as a card where my opponent's just like, oh no, not another one. I've got to deal with this tree now. It's the last nightmare on the Leia. That's an expensive last nightmare. She's already got value. And there's a Garadan. So we're just going to draw cards. Like, I don't feel like I need to play Crackthorn just yet. Let's get some gas going. I don't have any mountains available. I've got my 2 structures on there. I should have thought about that. Maybe I should have stuck the tree here instead. But I did want to protect the tree, so sure, that's fine. I'll mount in here next turn, or I'll just mount in here, and then I'll have the option to trigger the second power wheel if I want. I want my opponent to extend a little further before I drop Garadan. Yep, there's an extension. Yeah, so overextended, which is just what I wanted. And that's probably just going to win me the game after Garadan. I'd be surprised if Garadan doesn't just take care of business here. Yeah, I can just Tephra Garadan next turn. I can play an aggro forest, Tephra. I can make an aggro land and Crackthorn. I have a lot of options. My best card of 2018, guys. Will Garadan change in the future? Who knows? I would be interested in seeing Garadan being nerfed, because I would like to see how it would shape the meta. How it would shape things. I think blue would get away with a lot. I don't think you can nerf Garadan without nerfing blue, because once you nerf Garadan, blue kind of goes unchecked. Garadan is a gatekeeper for blue right now, and so like Library would have to get hit. Dream Reaver would have to get hit. I think Dream Reaver is war. I think Dream Reaver should be a 7/7, not a 7/10. I mean, I would like to see Dream Reaver just have its stats figured out. Rakoan Copter, that's a pretty good option. We'll just clear this. I don't really care. We'll just Crackthorn. Guess I could have Crackthorn first, but I don't. I can't see me losing this game. Let's just say that. I mean, look at my board. Unless I get Doomsday now somehow. Soul Pact Doomsday. Take that, Aqua. Too cocky. Soul Drain. Spirit Theft. Okay, so he has a Garadan now. Something to be aware of. Fair Tree goes off. I get the Tephra. Crackthorn. So that was a little better. I think my opponent overextended the Gyarados. That's what really cost the game there. Maybe he just played a little slower, but I had a good hand. It was my turn to have the good hand. The Faeria trees, the layers, the combat creatures. So everyone worked out there for me. A good game to my opponent. Let's move on to one last game. Alright guys, we're going to wrap things up against Sunkichi. And... yeah, we'll just move on from that. The probability of this happening is so low, and it happens so often. Come on, game. Come on. Throw away my one-off to redraw my one-off. How many cards do I have left? 27 cards. That's a 1 in 26 that would happen. And it happens more often than I'd like to say. Oh man, is this... so this is sack. Okay. Okay. We can do this, guys. We're going to play a different... so last time against sack, we went down the one side, and we interacted with the sack deck quite a lot, and that led to the big Soul Eaters. So what if we were to ignore the sack deck instead? Time of Legends? Okay. Is Sunkichi playing sack, or is he playing something else? Maybe that's just Eridan. Yeah, oh, you're tempting me, Gyarados. Don't do it. Don't you dare. So I'm just going to play a little different. I'm going to just build lands. I think I'm just going to play Lair anyway. And just start collecting off my own wells. And I'm just going to sit there and draw cards and make lands and wait for a Day of the Dragons. Double Gyarados, love life, and then move on. So we need a mountain here, we need a mountain here. It doesn't quite work out, but we'll figure it out. There it is, Spirit of Rebirth. It's a Crackthorn. Yeah, we're just going to sit back. So like I said, we're changing our game plan here. Last time, we went down to one side, it didn't work out. This time, let's just make Day of the Dragons great again. That's the plan. Just make a great Day of the Dragons. I might even move a land here for Azarai to get a one-shot off. So we get Azarai first, steal all the attack, and then Gyarados, and then kill everything. That could work out. It's going to be a Doomgate. So he's doing all the sacking without me being there now, because Doomgate's going to do that. I guess I could Gyarados if he extends a little further. Eridan, so that was what the Time of Legends was looking for. It just has so much Faeria to work with. No, I'm gonna wait. I need to stick to my guns here, guys. Stick to my guns. I guess I could Crackthorn off the rich list. That's an option. Maybe just wait. He's going to sack this, and then Gyarados gets worse, right? And I still have to deal with the Doomgate. So I'm gonna have to use Leia, so I need to kind of get Leia back over here, really. I have Devouring Plant as well, so I can actually Central Devouring Plant to keep Ostrogoth in check. I have a few options. So the plan is Azarai Gyarados, and that's what I'm going to go for. I have to spend 12 Faeria before I can even begin to think about that. So I really need my Faeria trees. I can make one more land now, and then I'm kind of set up, and I just draw cards for the rest of the game. Try and get to those Faeria trees. This is going to be a long one, guys. This is either going to be very quick because I mess up, and my plan was just completely useless from the start, or it's going to be a long one. Be quite close. So even Eridan wants to fight me now. Demon Wrangler. Wrangle the Eridan. Yep. I'm so tempted to Garadan, guys, but it didn't work last time. It didn't work, so I can't do it again. I need to try something different. Spider to kill my lair. Oh, kill my brigand, actually. Okay. Maybe I have to Garadan now. Because if I Garadan now, I could potentially clear the... Ah, but don't... I don't want to do it, guys. I really don't. I want to save my Faeria. He's just gonna... It's all gonna hit a spider, right? And it's just gonna one-shot my Garadan, and I'm gonna hate life. I guess I could put a forest here. Get a crackthorn. Well, the crackthorn can go this way, I guess. I need a forest. Like, that forest needs to happen, so let's stick it here. I feel like Sunkichi came out better than me in that situation. It depends what the Spirit of Rebirths hit. Like, if the Spirit of Rebirths are hitting stuff like these, he definitely comes out better. It takes a hit. I can start killing this. This is an issue for me. I have Lair to kind of hold it off, but I kind of feel like I have to go for it. We're going to see an assassin. You just wait. It's assassin time. Wind Soldier. I'm gonna kill this before it triggers. Into a Soul Eater. Shield Mate. Okay. Into a Bloom Sprite. Into a Bloom Sprite. Just lots of Bloom Sprites. Lots of things. Lots of big things for me to deal with. This Tephra. That's not the dragon I'm looking for right now. It's a good draw. All right, Doomgate. We're just gonna let Doomgate happen. I don't know. How do I deal with Soul Eaters, guys? How do I deal with Soul Eaters? Where's the sideboard when you need one? Just side in those Voice of Truth. Yep. Look how fast he's going through the Doom. Look how fast Doomgate accelerates your deck. It's crazy. Oh, there's a Faeria tree. Took your time. Do I draw? Yeah, I need to find architects. So, yep. And stick you down. You might just leave Ostrogoth here so I don't generate any Faeria and just wait for me to get... wait for his Soul Eater. That's actually a viable strategy at this point. Which is a little frustrating because, like I said, there's not really a lot of ways I can interact with it. Maybe I need a one-off grappling hook. Like there are answers in green red to green yellow sacrifice, but I'd have to kind of rebuild the deck around that. And I feel like the green red's answers to green yellow sacrifice are just not that good in other matchups. Like Voice of Truth is barely relevant outside of this matchup. And then you have so you have Voice of Truth, you have Grappling Hook. It's not really an answer, it's a very situational. So like Voice of Truth is the big one, right? It's just a good way to reduce the power of those the Soul Eaters, but Voice of Truth is a 1/5. Like unless you run Feed the Forest, it's not even worth playing half the time. So if you take out like Recurrent Copters or something like that to put in Voice of Truths, like you're just actually making other matches worse. And that's the problem, right? That's where the issue lies. The win condition is just better in Green. Green Yellow Sacrifice has a better win condition in this deck. That's the unfortunate thing. Would really like to get this Faeria tree up and going. I think I can land this turn and just stick a Devouring Plant in front of it. And then like collect here. So this can't interact with Lair unless there's a mobility trick. So I might go for Ostrogoth now. I actually think Tsukichi should have went for Ostrogoth last turn and stopped me from collecting, because I guess he doesn't know that I need a ton of Faeria to do anything, whereas the Green Sack deck doesn't need like that much Faeria at this point. It just needs 5 Faeria for Soul Eater. That's it. And Tsukichi has the luxury of just sitting back and just chilling, like just not really doing much. So it goes into the Devouring Plant. Such a problem because I need to kill the Soul Eater before I can Azari. If that's even a real option at this point, which I don't think it is. Especially if he just plays another Soul Eater. Yeah, just plays another Soul Eater. Faeria tree. Creeps up a little further. I guess I can like zip back, God, this card, man. This card. There's nothing I can do. I guess I could crack one and just hope a ping goes here, and that will slow things down, but I think I just zip back, hit this, and then clear the 1/1, and then put the Ritualist in front. But I guess he could shimmy, hit. Oh, the taunt structure should protect me, though. Yeah. So how am I killing this again? Oh, Garadan. Garadan, right. Then I can just clear this out. And just hope there's not a Wind Soldier, really. I can get value out of this just by playing this down. I guess he just moves here, hits, and then moves down and hits. That's also an option. So the positioning doesn't really benefit me at all, actually, because the Soul Eaters are just going to murder. Yeah, I don't think this Faeria tree is going to live. Maybe I should have drawn for Architect. I guess we'll see if I draw the Architect now. It's going to be a sad life. Oh dear. Oh dear. The mighty Garadan felled by a tiny Rakoan and his buddy. Fell at the hands of these. The thing is, he can... I guess the good thing is about Rakoan shield mates at this point is he puts a 1-1 in front of it, which means the Ostrogoth can't actually do anything. Which is interesting. Where are you going, Soul Eater? It's been a 12-12, not enough. Spirit Rebirth. Demon Wrangler. Interesting. So happy to let my Faeria tree go. Maybe he just feels sorry for me at this point. Did you get another trigger on the Ritualist? The thing is, I am one damage here and there. Like I need a 1 damage ping in these two, on these two, to really get things going. I guess I could do. I guess I could deal it here. Oh, actually, I can just mount in here, right? So I can mount in here, and that costs 5 Faeria. So I think maybe I just do it now, right? I don't know. It's not worth it. I need 19 Faeria for the Day of the Dragons combo. 19 Faeria. So I need the Faeria tree to go off. So I think I'm going to +1. Trigger this. +1 again. And play a Brigand. And pass here. I guess I could get some value out of the boss, but I'm going to go up to 29 Faeria next turn. Yeah. Okay, we'll see what happens. I'm not convinced I'm going to win this, but I'm going to play it out. Let's see what happens. I'm curious enough to see if I can get something going with Day of the Dragons. I Garadan too early, I think. Again, I think I get Garadan too early. Should have just waited for double Garadan. Not that double Garadan would have helped against the Soul Eaters, unfortunately. Another big problem I have is the Bone Collector is also another card that I just have to deal with. Like the Bone Collectors are becoming as much of problems as the Soul Eaters are. Deepwood Stalker, man. I kill my lair. It's a sad life. I can double Tephra. Double Tephra. A Brigand. 32 Faeria. What is life right now? 32 Faeria. To just do stuff with. Mountain here. Rakoan Copter. No. Mountain here, Rakoan. No, don't even need the mountain, so I can just Rakoan Copter here, so I don't kill this. I then Garadan. And then Azarai, and then I Garadan. But I still have this as a problem. This is still an issue, and this is still an issue. So I can Devour Implant this. So maybe I Tephra after that. So we Rakoan Copter here. So I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'm just gonna do some things and see if it works out. The Day of the Dragons. We play Azarai. Here. This Soul Eater. I get the +1. And Garadan. Here. I don't think it's enough, guys. Maybe I should have crack phoned instead. I moved crack phone into. Maybe if I made land and then crack phoned here. I don't know. I guess he has to run these two into it. We're going copter blocks. Maybe I should have Garradand here and then. Oh no, I don't think it makes a difference really. If anything, I'm just protecting my Rakoan Copter with this Devouring Plant. So this is kind of what the deck wants to do. This is the silly stuff that the deck is capable of. If it gets those Faeria trees and gets going, you can kind of just like snowball that way. But like I said, Green Yellow Sack just does everything that I want to do, but better. It doesn't rely on playing a 12 cost card to put loads of 7 cost cards into your hand that do stuff when they come in. They just put a 12-12 down for 5 Fair and say, deal with that. And they deal with that one, and then they put another one down, which is a 15-15 or a 17-17. He still has Ostrogoth as well. Ostrogoth is just sitting there waiting. It's kind of ridiculous. Probably has a Wind Soldier that's like massive. Yeah, look, just Wind Soldier. Just gonna clear this out of Wind Soldier. Then Bone Collector kills Garradand, and the 2 Faeria creature just kills Garradand. And then the Ostrogoth and hits me for 13. Yeah, and that is game. So, yeah, that's kind of what I want to do with the deck. That's the kind of fun thing I'd like to pull off, but it's just not viable. And, you know, I go through phases like this where I just kind of try out ideas, deck ideas I have. But it's usually when I run into, like, the tier 1 stuff that I just come to realize that any kind of janky strategy I want to pull off just doesn't match the power of some decks right now. Like, all that cool stuff I did is not as good as a 5 Faeria Soul Eater at the end of the day, or a 1 Faeria Doomgate. So what was that, 12? That was a 32 Faeria play, and it was still bad. So it just goes to show, like, the different levels of power between the tier 1 decks, like this is like a tier 3 deck, so like a tier 3 deck. But good game, Tsukichi. That's going to wrap up this episode. So that concludes this episode featuring my green-red Faeria tree ramp deck, I guess. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, it didn't work out. And this is just kind of how deck building works, you know. You try ideas, you make changes like I did in this video, and just try different things out. And I think there might be a deck here one day, but against the current meta, it just doesn't work. Like I think Green Red's really suffered on the ladder and in the meta game for quite some time, actually. Like the Aquablad nerf was like huge to Green Red. It was its win condition at the end of the day, and it got nerfed. Whereas like decks like Green Yellow Sacrifice are just getting stronger. Dream Reaver's just any blue deck is just getting stronger these days, and Mono Red's just picked back up. So Green Red doesn't really have a place outside of tournaments right now. You can use it as like a counter pick deck, which Tsukichi did do in the open, so I think it still has a life in tournament, but not really on ladder, unfortunately. And this is sad because it's my favorite color combination, and it's not really getting much done at the moment. But you know, that happens, and yeah, that's just how the card games work. The meta changes, decks come in, decks go out. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, drop a subscribe to keep up to date of when our content goes live. This week, I did check out the green-yellow mid-range that Amoeba featured in his Aurora's Open lineup, taking 2nd place. So if you'd like to check out a green-yellow variant, I had a great game in game 1 and 2. Number 2 was a bit wacky. You get to see a crazy deck from S of Dawn, so be sure to check that out. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. And of course, the Faeria World Circuit analysis. If you haven't checked that out, if you like to know more about the World Circuit, how the players have done throughout 2018 and the start of 2019, click on that video, check it out, see what you think of the points, the players, and how they've performed. So until next time, guys, take care and enjoy my green-red jank. That's what I'm going to call it, green-red jank.